Pay me, pay me, pay me my silver now. Pay me or go to jail. Pay me my silver now.
RoadToRuta.com. Wow. Lots going on in the world. Lots going on. And I'll get to something very important. And today is this, what is it, the 4th of October. And a lot of the conspiracy people are freaking out about the cell phone test today from 11 a.m. to well, I think it's 11:20 a.m. Pacific time, 11:30 a.m. And they're turning off their electronics, but they know their electronics are going to get fried whether they're on or off. So, my take, yeah, the bad guys like to, say beforehand what they're going to do, but there's way too much attention on this thing for them to make any kind of move, in my opinion. Yeah, who knows? I do know it's the time for the bad guys to do something. I heard that Trump is the number one pick right now for Speaker of the House. It could happen any day, any minute. Wouldn't that be a coup? And then take Biden and Harris out because they're criminals. But that still pisses off half the country, so I don't think Trump would really want that. What a better way to go about it would be to tell the truth about what's going on. But in a little bit, I'm going to show you how to protect your cell phone and your computers and all that. There are a couple ways to do it. Okay, first I want to talk about, what's more scarier? The zombie apocalypse because it sets off your phone, sets off the stuff in your body that they injected, or the rigging of silver. And if you're a silver bug, it's definitely the rigging of silver. You might have seen the price go down since JP Morgan started back in their normal rigging position. It is absolutely true, but something else is happening that is massive for silver, even bigger than the price going down. They can set the price at minus $40 like they do in oil. It's so easy. Click a mouse, poof, not minus $40. It doesn't mean you can get silver at minus $40. This is a derivative market. It means it's fake. Everything's fake. And there are no regulators. The regulators are on the side of the criminals. They're actually bought and paid for by the criminals, as we're seeing with Gary Gensler's testimony these days. But let me show you, I think, a very positive thing for silver. As the price crashes, massive amounts of silver is being delivered in London. And it's all being transferred from the COMEX. Nothing's happening on the COMEX except you crash the price on the COMEX, you deliver in London at the London Bullion Market Association. It's not even an exchange, mind you. So yeah, silver's down way below the moving averages. JP Morgan has a firm handle. Blame Jamie Dimon and friends Blythe Masters, who nobody knows where Blythe Masters is. The two heads of her silver rigging department are in jail, I think they got a year in jail. Can you imagine the payout those guys are going to get from JP Morgan for towing the line? I'll spend a year in the cushy jail of New York if they gave me that kind of payout. Probably what, $20-30 million each when they get out. That's how the game is played, my friends. Anyway, silver's getting smashed. Volumes are huge or bigger. Yesterday they had to throw 450 million ounces of silver just to keep the price down. Probably more today because it's harder and harder. But this is what's happening really right here. Exchange for physical. We had an exchange for physical of 16 million ounces yesterday, and the day before it was 18 million ounces. We got serious numbers going on in the exchange for physical. You can check that out at the COMEX Silver Futures Open Interest. So all this silver right now, that's 35 million ounces, is being transferred. The first 2 days of trading in October, mind you, is being transferred. The contracts are being transferred to England for physical silver delivery. Let's take a look. Let's count. Let's do the math. In 2 days, you have 35 million ounces. And so it would be what? There's 20 trading days around that in a month. So that's, if it averages at, so times 10, that's 350 million ounces. That would almost double the all-time high of this con game. No, 1.5. The all-time high is 207 million ounces. They're on track right now to deliver, what did I say? 350 million ounces. So the all-time high of transferring the paper contracts for physical delivery in London. Supposedly they have it, and where is it delivered? Who knows? JP, I guarantee you, 99% of this is JP Morgan. They are the masters, the ringleaders. They own the most. They control the most silver in the world. They had the largest fine in commodity history for rigging the silver market and gold and U.S. Treasuries, but silver mainly. Nobody really cares about gold and U.S. Treasuries. You can do anything you want. That's a ridiculous even concept to think about. I mean, who has all the gold? The banks have all the gold. Why would they want to rig the price of gold? It is rigged, controlled. But, I mean, gold's gone up 3 times from its all-time high in 1980, whereas silver's being held at 40% of its all-time high in 1980. Silver is the most important financial asset in the world, by far, bar none. And believe it or not, you can do what you want. I recommend getting as much silver as you can and take it home, bear it in the backyard, do whatever you have to do to secure your physical silver. Just don't have a third party holding it. Some people have to, like the self-directed IRAs. Third party is required. If you have to do that, pick a vault that is close to your house so that as the shit falls apart, like right now, when Trump gets elected as Speaker of the House, shit's going to go crazy. You think they'll ever agree on anything again in Congress? Of course not. This is the time. Remember, Dick Allgaier saw all the congressmen coming out of the Congress and puking, saying, "Oh my God, it's over. It's the last meeting of Congress." That's where we are. I told you there'd be no election in 2024. An election would mean everything had to stay in place, and no, each side, all the sides want this game to end, and we're working at the end game. Now, there's 2 options for the price of silver. If you care about the price of silver, that price that's determined on the COMEX, most likely they'll just shut down, and you won't know the price of silver. Declare force majeure. I mean, it's a faulty exchange with criminals running it. Much better way to do it. Use Veritasium, peer-to-peer transactions, instead of having JP Morgan hold everybody's silver. But we're getting there. We are getting there. So the 2 options are either silver will be the cause of the global collapse because it went up so high, or silver will be the very last one allowed to trade freely, if ever. Remember, when the markets shut down because the banks collapsed, when the markets shut down, none of these exchanges will even be open. And they're going to say, okay, what the hell do we do? We have lost the trust of the people. The government has lost the trust of the people. Obviously, the banking system and the financial markets have lost the trust of the people. Nobody's going to believe the World Economic Forum or IMF or the BIS or any of it. None of those are going to even matter anymore, other than we need someone to blame, and that's a great place to start to blame. Nobody's going to trust anything anymore. What does that mean? We need a trustless solution. A trustless solution. Gold and silver are a trustless solution if you hold them in your own possession. But so are cryptos. And that's what I think they're saving the Reggie Middleton Veritasium invention, the software called Veritasium, for. Implement that in all the exchanges, and all of a sudden you have no middlemen. You have no asset rehypothecation. You have peer-to-peer transactions. Holy crap. Heaven forbid. No need for the DTCC. No need for all the criminal confiscation of our assets. Your home, if you have any kind of, if you do or if you don't have a mortgage on it, they're going to claim it's theirs. If you have a mortgage on it, it's in a mortgage-backed security. It's held at the DTCC under the name Seed and Company. That's their legal paperwork. So they can say, okay, you're gonna own nothing and love it. That's how they do it. Everything is held at Seed and Company. They say, oh, that's just a fictitious. They call it the street name. It's bullshit. It's a corporate. It's an entity, and they did a really good, supposedly, so we hear, analysis and investigation to who owns seeding company, really. I mean, you get past the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers and all that shit, who has like major, all their shell companies and shit like that. They found out it was just one person at the time. Imagine that one person owns all the derivatives, which all the assets are in, blah, blah, blah. Now, can that one person even fathom holding control and ownership? No, of course not. Not even one corporation, not even the banking system. Just imagine if, the banks have collapsed, they're going to repo every house. No. They couldn't even do it in 2008. They tried. Ireland was great. They just said, screw you, bankers. Fuck off. Go away. And Iceland, too. Iceland. That's what we'll get to. I mean, if it's a small problem, you're screwed. If it's a big problem where everybody's in the middle of it, they are screwed. Because, what enforcement of the law, who in their right mind in law enforcement would confiscate everybody's house for the criminal bad guys? No, none of them. That's when the game ends. And that's how big this is. So hang on to your hats. Yes, I don't know what to put the price of silver at. They'll try JP Morgan if they had their way. They'll do the same thing they did with oil. Set it at minus 40 and then run it. I don't know. Will you be able to go to Andy Schectman and say, okay, I'd like you to pay me $40 per ounce to buy your silver? That's the mindset you got to get when you see the silver price. This is a fake price. Everything about it is fake. But you can use it to your advantage by loading up right now on physical silver. Again, I am screaming at everybody, start with your local coin shop. You're going to need your relationship with your local coin dealer, because that's probably, if they're still in business, that's the entity you'll be selling to for whatever the new money is. I don't think anybody would want to sell unless they're going to buy a house or something and just swap silver for a house. I don't even know. The future is so up in the air, and that's why anybody who says, oh yeah, we're going to have NESRA and JESRA and XRP is going to control the banking system. There'll be no banks to control. XRP is a joke, always was. Always was. And talk about a con. What a great con for the people running XRP. Still selling tokens to people, even though they're under investigation and all that for running an ICO that was still ongoing. Every time they'll drop some story about XRP. Look, they signed contracts with all these banks. And then all the banks are creating their own way to do it. Citi did, JP Morgan did. I can't believe people are falling for these cons. It's just like the DeFi stuff that people are falling for. Hey, give us your coins and you'll make triple the amount. Oh my God, come on, people. A fool and his money are soon parted. Get yourself physical silver in your own possession. Have a little cash. Have a little coinage. You're better off having coins than physical Federal Reserve notes, truthfully. Those are at least made by the U.S. Mint. And remember, nobody's going to have change. It's like, I got enough cash to last me 5 years. No, you don't. Because nobody's going to have any change. What are you going to buy? I mean, a couple weeks maximum, and then all of a sudden everybody runs out of ways to make changes. It's like, what? Are they going to print a bunch of bills that we've already seen have gone to zero? Have no purchasing power? So this isn't a little hiccup like 2008. It's probably 100 times bigger. It's big enough to destroy the system. And that was always the plan since the creation of the unbacked fiat monetary system in 1913. Run it for as long as you can, solve the problems, but, oh, by the way, create the wars, create the death, create the destruction. It's been a horrific century. Woodrow Wilson probably should have done what everybody said, announced that there's billions of ounces of gold in the banks of the Colorado River. And yes, it would have been very disruptive in 1913 to say that, or 1911, or the early 1900s to say that, my God, there's millions of tons of gold, not just 200,000 tons. But we wouldn't have had World War I, World War II, every single war we've had in the last couple hundred years. Wars used to be very, very, very short experiences because they were so fucking costly. It makes you think 100 times before you say, oh, I'm going to go to war in the Ukraine. Are you kidding me? That's ridiculous. Anyway, so that's what's going on. The price is being pushed down, and the physical silver, I did the numbers. That's 350 million ounces of delivery at this rate. It might go up. There was almost nothing last month. I mean, last month they did what? It was a tiny month because it was visible. It wasn't tiny. 72 million ounces were moved from the COMEX, and that's one of the biggest delivery months ever. So all the deliveries are happening in London now. Of course, we don't have that information. We don't know who took delivery. We don't know. We just don't know. And they're even more criminal, if you can get more criminal, than the COMEX, the LBMA. They don't even call themselves an exchange. So that's where we are, my friends. Okay, now let's talk about this thing that's going to happen at, 2:20 Eastern Time, 11:20 Pacific Time. Why am I even bringing it up? Because I think there's a possibility that it might screw up your phone. Definitely, it will show you how vulnerable you are to tracking by the not only the tech people, but the deep state and all that. If everybody's phone goes off at the exact same time, everybody's going to go, what the fuck? And this is planned for, again, 2:20 p.m. Eastern Time, 11:20 Pacific Time. It also gives us an opportunity to test our defenses against the 5G system. So here are 3 ways you can supposedly, and this is a good test of your defenses. Suppose you can not get the signal. You can hide the signal from your phone. Here are 3 ways. I'm sure there's many, but number 1 is the Faraday bag. I've been not screaming, but the reason I promoted the Faraday bag is because these are very susceptible to electronic charges. I mean, even the sun can kick off an EMP and fry your phone. But I want to know if that Faraday bag works. So, hey, I'm throwing my phone in my Faraday bag from 11 to 12 or 1. I'm just going to walk away. Nice time without your phone. And my computers and everything are going in Faraday bags. If you don't have a Faraday bag and it's too late, I was watching a couple people. One of them said, do this. Aluminum foil. If you take aluminum foil, you crinkle it up, and it disrupts the signal, supposedly, because it's all crinkled up and it's got these little things. There you go. You guys doing this at home before 11 o'clock Pacific time? And then you take this and you just wrap your phone in it. And put your tinfoil hat on while you're doing it. And there you go. That's one way to do it. Wrap your computer. It's only for an hour. Just do it and see if it works. That's why I'm going to do it, is see if it works. Another way to do it is your microwave. Put your electronics in your microwave. Do not turn it on. So microwaves have basically a Faraday cage surrounding them, so none of the microwaves get out of the microwave, the actual box. So there's 3 ways. Faraday bag. I have a Faraday case and all that stuff. I do keep my all my backups, all the hard drives and all that backup from Road to Ruta since the day Road to Ruta was born, and all my electronics storage in a couple different places, which is important, and in Faraday bags. Just because. I mean, the sun's kicking out EMPs all the time. Is one going to hit the earth? I don't know. It has before. It will again, right? So that's what a couple ways to get through that. You will hear beforehand a lot of the crazies. Not crazies. Hey, we have good reason to be suspicious of our government, right? You know, we're not going to know what the consequences of this emergency alert to everybody in America is until later. It's kind of like the jab. You don't know the consequences till years later. But yeah, for example, here's Twitter saying, okay, let's talk the emergency broadcast system, or more accurately, the emergency alert system test that's happening tomorrow that's supposed to cause a zombie apocalypse. Backup zombie apocalypse is 10 to 11. This post, I believe, summarizes why people think something is going to happen. I have to be real honest. I think it's silly that people are considering placing their phones in the microwave. Why is it silly? I mean, just say, I don't want to be annoyed. I want to see if it works, first of all. And I don't want to be annoyed by this freaking signal going off. This is emergency broadcast. Do it for that reason. It's even sillier if you're warning your loved ones of an impending zombie apocalypse. Your loved ones already think you're crazy, most likely. So who cares? I think it's even sillier if you're warning. Okay, it says, yes, today's October 3rd does depict an emergency wireless test. But that Q post was about the presidential alert. There was a Q post on it. Federal law since 2006 requires a system be tested at least once every 3 years. The last nationwide test was August 11th, 2021. Before that, 2018. EBS, if there's an indication whatsoever that drops on how it will be utilized, it's Q drop 34. Read it. If EBS is issued, it will be used to bypass the mainstream media following certain circumstances. Supposedly, Q's gonna, you don't know if it's the good guys or bad guys doing all this shit. What you can do is you can test your defenses against the trackers. Remember, they track your car, they track your phone. I mean, it really sucks. You can't get away from it if you want to. If you track your computer, they can track everything. I had heard years ago that they can even track you through the wires that you plug your shit into at your house. Even if you got rid of your computer and everything with Wi-Fi in it, if you deal in electricity, they can track you and spy on you that way. Who knows? Who knows? But that's the problem. Nobody knows. So I think in the future, we're going to have, let's call them the tracker police, going around to all these tech companies and going through their code and saying, what is it that you're trying to do if you're trying to do anything? And if you're caught trying to do something, automatic death penalty. I think automatic death penalty is something reasonable for people who are trying to fuck with you in this type of way. So a lot of the pharmaceutical companies, I think we need to see automatic death penalty for senior management. You think, how fast would that stop them trying to screw with us? Pretty damn fast. Automatic death penalty. Anyway, yeah. You guys are going to love this. There was a movie that came out in 2008 called Cell. And it's about the same type of thing. Remember, the bad guys their religion says they have to project an attack before they do it, like 9/11 with the Simpsons and all that. And there's been many proven things about that. But check out, here's what it might look like today at 11 o'clock. The zombie apocalypse hits. Yeah. All right. Well, it happens. It happens. But again, I said this is way too telegraphed for, I think, much to happen, at least that we know about. Now, the good guys might be using it for something. And mind you, it is time for something crazy to happen. All the banks are completely underwater with their treasury investments and their real estate investments. There's not one bank on the planet that is solvent anymore. So we'll see what happens. Now is the time. Cryptos, who knows what those trading exchanges will go down to. We won't know the price of Bitcoin, the price of anything. And I've been saying this, oh my God, since my very first interview with Sean at SGT Report, that what's going to be important is what happens after the crash. We know there's going to be a crash. The good guys want it, the bad guys need it, and it's all about what happens after the crash. So will we turn to the bad guys? Oh, save us, give us a CBDC, I'll own nothing and love it and all that bullshit? Or we can say, hell no, and make our way forward using the Constitution, for example. I mean, the United States is, there needs to be tweaks to the Constitution, obviously. It's kind of an old document, but tweaks can be made. They're called amendments, and they're voted on by, theoretically, a real Congress, which we would have to vote a new Congress in. Clearly, the ones that are in there now do not work for us. lots of good stuff coming. It's exciting on the road to. And anyway, I have posted a lot on the private road about what's coming on. Coming fast. Go check it out. Subscribe today. There are good guys behind the scenes. How much power they have over the bad guys. I think they have ultimately the most power. Not saying the bad guys can't do bad shit. Look at the Maui fires. But I think the good guys are in charge. And one way for Trump to get back in is being Speaker of the House and then taking out Biden and the Kamala Harris. And voila, Trump's third in line. So lots of excitement coming your way. This is Bix Weir. You want to join the private road or the public road, put your name and email address in, roadtorua.com. You'll get updates. And then hit subscribe today to join the private road. And yes, we are giving away, at least right now, while we can, until 11 o'clock this morning, at least, one Veritasium token loaded on a paper wallet, so you don't have to worry about an EMP with that. But then again, if there's an EMP, electromagnetic pulse that destroys all the electronics, that's what, like the crypto haters say, oh, it's electronic. What if there's an EMP or a solar flare? It's worthless. We'll all be dead anyway, truthfully. So nobody cares. And if you have a Faraday bag, how are you going to make a call? You know, all the cell stations, all that will be fried. You can't make. There's no one to call with the Faraday bag. If you have your phone in a Faraday bag, there's no one to call. There's so many scenarios you can run, and that's what we do on the private road. We talk about things we can't talk about normally. Great discussions with Jenny Moonstone, brilliant tarot reader and psychic. Really, go check that out if you're into that. Also, I do plenty of analysis to show you what's going on behind the scenes, and there's a lot going on behind the scenes. All right, it's Bix Weir. I will talk to you later.